Bobby. So listen, man, I want to welcome you and everybody else to the Tiny Room for Elephants Happy Hour. You know what I mean? We got my man, I'm going to let everybody else introduce themselves so they know who it is. But today we got Bobby J from Rockaway. Welcome to the show, Bobby. We appreciate you for the hour of your time, man.
Cheers.
So we're going to start with, I'm going to start with Dame, who's our normal host. But since he's in Mexico, he gave me the hosting privileges today.
Yeah, so man. One time only. Don't be comfortable.
Introduce yourself.
Don't be comfortable. Hey, my name is Dame. I'm a co-founder and creative director of the Tiny Room for Elephants. I'm a music producer. I'm just a guy from Philly that, you know what I mean? That sounds horrible. But hey, I am. But you know what I mean? That's who I am. It's nice to meet you, man. I got to listen to your music. Somewhat on the beach while I was like, you know what I mean? And I was, okay, I'm a hype, you know what I'm saying? For Rockaway Queens, let's go.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And then we got, I don't know how you're falling on everybody else's screen, but I'm going to go over to Jason next.
How's it going? I'm Jason. I'm director of content, Tiny Room for Elephants. I'm also a producer, musician, audio engineer, and homeschool father right now during this whole thing. But yeah, I'm also, this is exciting as well. I listened to the Daru project when it came out too. So
thanks, man.
Yeah, it's cool to connect and chat with you for a little bit. So welcome.
Sure.
Likewise.
Yeah. And then we got Eric Boss up here.
Bert and Ernie.
What up, man? Eric Boss, music director for Tiny Room for Elephants, music producer, DJ. I run a little indie label out of Philly too. Yeah, what up, man?
Stuffed animal lover. Let's have it. Stuffed animal lover, I see. But he's humble, man, because he got a nice project out right now, Bobby. Just tell him the name of your project. Show off, E.
Well, it seems like everybody's kind of listening to something different. I guess over the past year, I put out 3 projects. The first of which was an album called Summer Classics. I would say Kwame was really the executive producer on that album. There's a couple other producers. Jake One did a joint on there. DJ Wonder, Statik Selektah did 2. We had Killer Priest on the project. Little Fame, my boy Michael Fire, Vivian Green. So that was like my first official real album. In a couple years, and I would call it my first album, really, because everything I had done before that point was really kind of getting me ready for that. After that, I put out a joint project with Statik Selektah called Endless Summer. That was this past May. That's an EP. And I'm just coming off the release of a project with a drummer by the name of Daru Jones called One Mic and Drum, which is more on the experimental side of things. It's literally just him playing drums and me rhyming over it. Is kind of like, like a jam session put to wax. So they're all kind of unique in their own way. They all kind of stand alone as their own little thing. I like to describe myself and my music.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Because we normally do that part in the over drink part of the show.
Okay, well, I don't know the structure of your damn show, man. Come on.
You jumped the gun, Bobby. You guess what we was going to let you run. But
I'm going to tell you right now, Mike.
Just let me know if I'm talking too much, man.
You jumped the gun, so we was going to let you run. Dame about to yell at me for not taking control.
I'm about to tell you right now, Mike.
Dame.
Obviously, you didn't get the prep call. Come on, man.
Listen, we had a conversation, but, he's an entertainer. Man. You know how these entertainers get, man. You dealt with them. All right, listen. This part of the show, Bob, we do the over drink segment. Now, I tried to get you to come on over drink. We couldn't connect. So, since COVID hit, we've incorporated over drink into this. So, Dame, you ready to do over drink?
Yeah, why not?
Then I normally do it, but since I'm hosting, we're going to let Dame do it today. You got something to drink, Dame?
This is a very special over drink, right? Because I don't have a drink. So I'm
gonna pour a drink while you talk.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
So hold on, let me tell you what I did, Bobby.
Please, yeah.
So since and I always got to come up with a drink, but I'm not a bartender, right? And I don't know shit from Sean about making drinks. So I just come up with this stuff each week, and I try to do something that's in association with who we got on. So I was watching your Where I'm From video, and I seen all the Irish St. Patty's Day. I got the Jameson that I had left over from last week, and I got I'm French pressing it, but we're gonna make an Irish coffee.
I see.
All right?
I'm feeling
That's
it.
how we gonna do it today.
I'm feeling it.
Feeling that, Dame? That's for my man Bobby J. We're gonna pour Irish coffee for Bobby J. Now, Dame, you go ahead and deal with the questions.
I just want to say, first of all, this is the most original drink that you've made, period. Like, you're making this, because usually, like, his wife makes the ingredients, like, he has all this, like, these lush ingredients that his wife made, but that he didn't buy. This is the first time he's actually making a drink. So this is like a classic show already. First of all, you're from Rockaway, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Rockaway Beach.
Rockaway Beach.
Yep,
So
same peninsula.
When I heard that, and I'm sure you get this a lot, when I heard that, the first thing I thought about was MC Serch.
Yep.
Like, growing up, like, third base, like, I fuck with him, you know what I'm saying? So when I heard for Rockaway, it was only a couple of people that stood out, and one was MC Serch. The other one was the Lady Persia, the rapper that was on that Ego Trip show. So, how old are you?
30. I just turned 33
you just
last
turned 30. So, were you familiar with, like, Third Base and their legacy when you started rapping?
Absolutely. You know, part of the reason I put Bobby J from Rockaway in my name was to literally shine a light on a part of Queens that you rarely hear about. You know, like, in terms of hip hop, you could count the rappers from Rockaway pretty much on one hand. You know, there's MC Serch, Stack Bundles, Chinks, you know, Father MC spent some time out here.
MC.
And then you know, there's other than that, you know, it's like you hear about Cormega spent some time out here. MC Light, I think, spent some time out here. But that's really it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like this. It's kind of tongue in cheek. It's kind of ironic, but you know, for me, this is such a unique section of Queens that honestly, like, people from New York really know nothing about. So it's a lot of it is me trying to shine a light on my neighborhood and show what the culture's like, show what the landscape is like, because nobody else is really doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like no man's land, or for a long time it was like no man's land. And you know, I just kind of want to represent where I'm from and give people a different perspective on a part of New York they rarely get to see. But, you know, as far as Serch is concerned, I've always been aware of him. I did his podcast a couple months ago. So, you know, to get his stamp of approval and have him be aware of me was like a huge step up for me. And, you know, I've always respected what he did, just off the simple fact that, you know, there wasn't a lot of white MCs at that time, like, really doing it. So he paved the way for somebody like me, you know?
There was some, but they weren't really doing it that well. Like, they,
they were respected. Like, like Third Base was not seen as, you know, you had the Beastie Boys, Third Base, House of Pain, you know, pre-Eminem, white rappers were really looked as jokes, and they actually were, you know, official. So, you know, you got to respect that. Yeah,
for sure. Earlier you said, it struck a chord when you said, it's like, you know, and like with your project, it was like, you know, a mic and a drum, and then we put it to wax. I was like, we put it to wax. How about that? You know what I'm saying? That just shows the sensibility, like, you know, as far as like where you come from, like putting it to wax. Like, that means something to me, because it was a process to get it, you know, from anywhere to have it on wax or on a tape. So, I mean, that just like goes to the struggle that it was at that time for, like, you know, to hip hop. And I just had to say that. It struck a chord with me. I was like, yes, that's.
Well, putting out a single was a process that required money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a good friend of mine is Breakbeat Lou. And, you know, I've had long conversations with him. He's like, yo, like, if you wanted to rap in the 80s, you had to really be serious because it required a capital investment to to book the studio time, make the song, get it pressed up. You know, it's not like now where you could just flippantly put some shit on the internet and, you know, you could strike oil, you know, just by accident. You know, you really had to believe in yourself and put money into it. So,
and even between those steps, it's like, you need a reel to reel. You need a reel. Yeah, I mean, you need all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, yeah, man. But we're happy to have you here. Like, I could talk forever. But I just want to ask a couple of questions. You know what I'm saying? This is really Mike's segment. I don't have a drink. Are you a drinker? I got
I'm drinking bourbon right now. I got some bullet bourbon on the rocks right now.
How'd you get on bourbon? Like what? Like that's a unique.
My drink has evolved over the years. It's funny because I grew up in a predominantly Irish neighborhood, and people drank dog shit. You know, it was like Bud Light. You know, like
Natty Ice, Coors Light,
Bud Light cans. That's like what I grew up on. Like. People might as well ate those things for breakfast, but I never really liked beer, to be honest with you. I always liked liquor. You know, actually my friend Sean put me on to bourbon, and I just been on a bourbon kick recently. And I like it a lot more. It's a lot smoother, you know, goes down easier. And that's funny. Some people don't really like, you know, brown liquor like that, but yeah, I don't like the way beer, like I have to drink like 20 Bud Lights before I feel anything. So it's like, you know, I've just been
all day afterwards.
We call those baseball beers.
Yeah,
Drinking at baseball games because it's like you want to keep drinking and not be too fucked up. But eventually, after like 30 of them, you're wasted, right? You know what I mean?
Soap suds. That shit is soap suds. So yeah.
Well, that was over a drink. I'm gonna keep it short because I don't have a drink. If I did, I mean, recently it's been tequila. I enjoyed the tequila. I'm happy to be in Mexico. Apparently not drinking tequila though. What the fuck? But hey, it could be worse.
Did you find any good tequila last night?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, man.
I had a little Casa Azul. I had a little. You know what I mean? I just been taking it to the top. I had a little
at the top. You on vacation?
I had a little 1942.
Started there, okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Even though it's not like
just giving it all up.
Yeah, I'm
You on vacation? What you gonna do?
Hey, man.
What you gonna do? All right, so
Plus it's a little cheaper down there.
So we're gonna move into we're gonna do our music review now, right, Jay?
Sure.
That's what we got with it.
Let's do it.
All right, so who we gonna listen to? Who we going with first? Did you listen to the Action Bronson and the what's his Popcaan? How you say his name?
Popcaan.
Popcaan. My bad.
I was like, I didn't want to say it because I was wondering the same thing. I was like, is it Popcaan? Like
Popcaan.
Who you want to talk about first, Jay?
Well, I don't know. I don't really want to introduce either of these. I don't feel.
Oh, is it? Well, this is Eric's department anyway. My bad.
This is my segment.
Yeah, that's Eric's
segment. I can do this.
Who you like, Eric? Yeah.
And I got a clip if you want to listen to it.
All right. So first we had Action Bronson. Something about dolphins. What is it again? Sorry.
I'm telling you, man, Yaya's not here and everything falls apart, man.
This is what happens, man. She's the glue, and the glue ain't here.
16. First of all, can we just address that whatever the title of that Action Bronson album is? It's weird. What's it gonna say? What is it about dolphins? Seriously.
I don't know. I think it's just a joke.
What's the name of the album?
Only for Dolphins.
Only for Dolphins. But he got the dolphins squeaking throughout the whole album. I liked.
It's like strictly for my, CDJs or whatever, like.
Or it's like only built for Cuban links. Or it's like dolphins communicate on such a high level of understanding and frequency that is only for dolphins, and you gotta be highly intelligent. Come on, this is hip hop, man.
Dude, I'm not gonna front, man. I really enjoyed this album, man.
It was incredible.
It was a really good. Yeah. That joint Splash, by Baklava. That's my shit. I rock with that all day. No, and I'm a Action Bronson grew on me. Like once I seen his show, the that tastes fucking great. Was that the name of the show? Something like that.
Fuck, that's delicious.
Fuck, that's delicious.
That tastes fucking great,
dude. Something like that. But once I seen that show, and I seen his personality and his character, and he could rap, because honestly, I was telling Jay and Eric yesterday, like when I first heard him, he sounded so much like Ghostface to me that it was hard for me to separate. You know what I'm saying? Because it was his first singles. I'm like, is this guy just a fluke who sounds like Ghostface? What is he going to be? And then I seen his show and I heard some more of his music, and it was just like, oh, he just happens to sound like Ghostface, but the guy is super talented.
And he has his own character and charisma that comes through.
And he has his own character.
And all the bars about food and like fine wine and shit, like you find out his life has come behind all that, you know, like.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. Is like he sounds like Ghostface because he has a personality. They both have large personalities. They both, you know what I mean, speak with like they both speak in color, or speak with such like colorful terms and language that it's like, yeah, it makes sense, but they're not really anything alike.
Like with Action, like to add to what you're saying, like his personality supersedes everything. Like the music is almost like a secondary product. You know, what I'm saying? Like people like him. You know, they like his show. They like his personality. Like they like the set of characters around him, like Big Body Bess and Mayhem Lauren and all those guys. So, you know, the music is just like, it's almost like this. It's not even at the forefront. Like I know people that know Action Bronson that don't even know he's a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like I've talked to girls before, like, I love his show. You know what oh, what? He makes music? You know what I'm saying? Like they don't even know that. So, you know, you got to respect the branding and the hustle, because, you know, the music is just a secondary part of that. He's like, oh, you know, and I make music too. So I feel like people go to his concerts just because they want to see the theatrics of whatever he's going to do. Because he'll be like body slamming people on stage.
For sure.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, but to me, as far as the album is concerned, like I've only really listened to, I think Mr. Wonderful was like the other album I listened to, and I know the scattered singles and stuff that I've heard. What I like about this album is that it definitely sticks to an aesthetic. Like all the beats are very similar. You know, it's like very simple chops. You don't hear a lot of layering in the drums or like any like additives as far as like the music is concerned. It's like a very
good sample.
The aesthetic is the same. You know, he definitely went for a mood on this album. I think lyrically, it's dope. You know, you have all the things you expect. Like if you're an Action Bronson fan, you'll appreciate this album. If you're not, you'll probably hate this album. Content-wise, he doesn't really do a lot. It's, I'm going to body slam you through the dinner table and fuck your sister.
I will bomb you to the
you know, like you know, you're not learning about him on a personal level. Like you're not going to get to go to Action Bronson and hear about his life struggles, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. You know, it's like you kind of got to judge everything for what it is. Like I think he's like a borderline comedic rapper. Like he's there to make you laugh, and you know, he gives you like some East Coast shit, and he just gets on a beat and talk shit. Not too many hooks to really write home about. You know, it's just like him kind of just rapping and shit.
I feel as though he gives you,
too, you know?
Yeah, I feel as though he gives you so much in the lyrics. Like, it's not like, hey, you know, my parents died when I was 4, and then I was, you know what I mean? It's like, he's giving you like the right now. He's not giving you like when I was 11. He's giving you like the minute to minute, like, this is the last 3 months, it feels like.
It's like stream of consciousness rap. It's like one bar will have nothing to do with the next bar, but it's funny. Like it'll connect well, it'll rhyme well. He'll have some like obscure like wrestling reference or like movie reference or food reference, and that's cool. Like I think that's fine. Like he knows what his appeal is, and he sticks to it.
His earnest album may come, you know, he might come to that album where he writes something a little more meaningful, but he knows what he does well right now, and it's, you know, it's another of that, you know.
I listened to it when it first came out, a bunch, like just riding my bike through the city, and I'm just like, it made me smile. I'm like, I'm laughing. I'm like, the production is like here. I really feel like, did he make it in some on an island or some shit? Because it feels like I listened to it on the beach today. I was like, one more time on the beach, and like I'm on the beach. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys are in Philly, but I'm on the beach.
Yeah, right. I'm on the beach. Nobody gives a shit.
And like, you know, I'm hearing like dolphins in my ear. I'm hearing the water barely crashing, you know what I'm saying, in front of me. And also like the use of like horns and some of the grooves are like super like Caribbean, super like in between like Spanish Caribbean and also in between like
chop.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And then the first track, he just got those big horns on the first track that just grabs you as soon as you turn it on. So
there's big horns all through it.
Yeah. I'm a horn guy, man. Lyrics and horns. If you got those two, you don't need nothing else to hold me, man. I'm stuck. So I'm good, man. You gonna play a sample you got, Jay?
I'm gonna sample Dave doing that.
Just give a little bit of it, man. You don't
Right?
I gotta get my tone right.
He knows my name, but my name is not my name. And you? To them, you're only the Greek. And of course.
I just write these essay poems. What?
That's
He can rap, man. Like he's good. He's nice with syllables too.
And it jumps all over the place, his thoughts, but they somehow connect, man. And the flow be all right. And I'm good with that, man. I'm good with that.
That sounds like, that loop sounds like this part of the Darjeeling Limited, the movie. If anybody didn't know Wes Anderson, I think I need to check it out. I don't want to put it out there. It sounds like it's one part of the movie, but whatever.
So
and I gotta say, one thing I really like, man, is a big boy who just like owns who he is, dude. I don't care if you ugly and you own it, you fat and you own it, you broke and you own it. I don't care what your flaw is. You take control of that and you rock it and you make it work for you. I'm a fan of that, man. What he say? I may not be able to touch my toes, but I still fuck these hoes. What are you gonna say to that? What are you gonna say to that when he says that to you? What are you gonna say to that?
All over my body.
That's definitely Biggie-esque.
You know
yeah, right.
All right, let's move on to Popcaan.
All right, yeah. So next up was Popcaan Fixed Tape. This is one of my favorites. Definitely to come out this year during quarantine or during COVID, I guess at this point for sure. Me and Jason were saying it was like the top half of the album was strong, you know? What do you think about it, Dave?
Well, I think that's why it was a fixed tape. Not an album. But
gotcha.
I like what he does. I like them since I've heard his first couple of records, like, you know, and like forget what it was, but he's got one of my favorite like party feel good records, like you know what I mean. What is it? I'm feeling high, champagne. I mean, like that shit come on, you like, it's wavy. But so I like him. Everything I like what he does. There's some tracks that I really like The Buzz. And like the one after it, I mean, you know, it's like it's when you're in the Caribbean or when you're in Mexico, it feels good. So yeah, I mean, like I'm fucking with it. I've been fucking with it. What do you guys think? You know, we got two nice Drake features, man.
Well, I knew that twist. What is it? Twist and turn, whatever it is. Twist and wine, whatever the Drake joint. I had heard that before, and I didn't know who Popcaan was. He got a couple on there that I could rock with. As a whole, it didn't. It held me until I listened to it. Does that make sense? Like until I paid attention to what he was saying.
Background music.
Then it got repetitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was one sentence. Certain parts felt like certain songs are indistinguishable from the other, but I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I feel like it's just, you know, it's party music. It's
for sure.
Right.
Right.
And that's not necessarily my cup of tea, so I don't know if I could like give it like a legitimate review. But from what I heard, it's a competently made. I guess would you consider this dance hall? This is
yeah, for sure.
Is it dance hall?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
like,
listed as reggae, but this is dance hall for sure.
Yeah, so this is something you would put on like if you have, you have a bunch of chicks over, or you're like at the club, or you're going to the club, or some shit like that.
You're on the beach in Mexico.
There's those 4 or 5 songs on the album, like you're driving and you got girls in the back seat, and the ones to put on, like
right.
It'd be like it's almost like a modern day, like Sean Paul record. You know what I mean? You got the 5 bangers that everybody knows.
Correct.
Whatever, but. I don't have anything negative to say about it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I thought it was a solid album. Like I said, I just thought lyrically, content-wise, once I listened to it, the song started to sound repetitive to me.
Yeah, well, you can't listen to it in the attic, bro. You gotta listen to it like.
I was in the car.
Yeah.
I had it turned up.
He says the word vagina in like every song.
That's what the problem was. It became like the lyrics could have been on a trap album. Like it became, killing people and sleeping with women on every song, and that's where he lost me. It's like, dude, before I listened to what you were saying, I was just rocking. Now on the second go back, I'm like, wait a minute, man, you talking about the same thing on every track. So then it kind of lost me. But he's got a couple bangers on there that I could let rock though.
Bougie was too clean, Popcaan too dirty. I got you.
So this thing is because I'm an old man now, Dave.
Right. That matters.
So that music Popcaan would have been good for me when I was in my late 20s and early 30s. Now that I'm 49 and I got 2 daughters and a wife, what am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do with that music now?
Boss, what do you know about Boss, what do you know about who made this music? Does he produce his own shit, or who's he work with? What's the
I'm not really sure. What I know is that this is like the first, or I think the first one with OVO. Gotcha. Officially. The last few were with Mixpack, which is actually a Brooklyn-based label. And I know that most of their lineup is just different producers that do this kind of shit. So it could vary a lot. I don't know too much.
So we agree that
Boss would like it though. This was right down Boss's lane though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I knew Eric would love this album. I'm like, this is right in Eric's ballpark, man. This is
so we agree that when Bobby and when Bobby and Bam Bam Baklava leaving a club with like 8 chicks stuffed inside the Bronco. You know what I'm saying? They're putting on popcorn and going back to the law and power bombing Jones to the table and shit. Got you.
Fire. You want to play a clip, please?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Yeah. TikTok this up. Steve got this up.
All right, turn it down. Enough. That's what I'm saying. That's it. It's every song. That's every song.
We just had this whole conversation.
My question is this: Are you listening to an album like that for lyrical content though, or is it more about the vibe and how it makes you feel?
When you're in the club and he's saying things like that, he's definitely talking.
He's in the right spot with it. He's in the right spot with it.
Talking to women, so
lyrical content for the right situation.
Exactly. But when I'm sitting in the car by myself, driving along, like, all right, enough of this already. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't by myself listening to music or with my wife listening to music or with my, you know what I'm saying? But again, I'm a different demographic.
And so in the same token, like,
and you ain't gonna sit in the car with 3 of your homies, or you and your homie going to the club, you ain't gonna rock that.
But a woman and 3 of her homies headed to the club, they could rock that.
Yes.
And that's
they could rock that.
That's who it's made for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
First and foremost.
My thing is never judge a fish for how it climbs a tree. Like, you got to approach Every
Dude,
album.
hold on. Don't judge a fish by how it climbs a tree.
Yeah,
I guess
like
not, because it's climbing a damn tree and it's a fish.
Hey, man, let him get it out. Not the whole thing, man. You just cut him off.
You can't finish. I'm sorry, it was a lot.
Yo, start over like that never happened, because that was going
Yeah,
through
just
it.
start all over again like I ain't interrupt you, man.
No, it's just like, obviously this argument bleeds into the hip hop conversation as well, right? It's like, how do you feel about the trap stuff? How do you feel about the mumble stuff? It's like me personally, I try to approach every album that I'm listening to, what is the focal point of this project? Am I going to judge Lil Uzi Vert by the same standard that I hold, Black Thought to? Are we going to compare apples to oranges? It's like, if I'm listening to this album, it's very clearly meant for the club. It's meant to be listened to on a big fucking sound system.
Mm-hmm.
The demographic is probably women. So for me to be like, the lyrical content is redundant here. Like, I don't even think he gets.
Yeah, Mike.
Saying like,
Hey, listen, man, y'all ask my opinion.
Yeah, Mike.
Ask my opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion,
I
man.
agree.
Like,
I agree. Look, I agree insofar as I think the thing that separates a good songwriter from a great songwriter is somebody that can make you dance and also make you think. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that knows how to pepper those. Like I'm trying to think of a modern example. Somebody who's just, shit. You guys could probably throw some names at me, but if you're an artist that can achieve great lyrics, melodies, great beats, great hooks, that's like the king in the mountain, right? But some people only have 2 or 3 of those attributes. You know what I'm saying? So I try not to be like this. Like there's like this one standard you got to hold everybody to. Where if you're, especially in the rap world, man, there's people that are just making shit that you're just supposed to play loud. You know what I mean? And it gives you a certain vibe and a certain energy. It's like punk music, man. Like, fucking rap's going kind of through like a punk phase at this point. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Definitely.
Like,
look out for that new Trippie Red.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Rock in the 70s was, the Eagles and Steely Dan. You have these highly musical artists with serious melodies, serious musicianship. And then, the Sex Pistols and the Ramones come out. And all of a sudden, it's like the worse you are, the better you are.
Yeah.
It's more about the attitude and the energy. And I feel like the same shit is true of trap music and mumble rap, whatever you want to say. Like, you can say whatever you want about these kids, but you put them out on a stage in front of 30,000 people and you see the wave of people jumping up and down. Like, who am I to say some shit is bad? Or who am I to say some shit is whack? Like, you got to understand the audience and the demographic it's meant for.
I took some friends of mine to a Lil Uzi Vert show, and they complained the whole time before we went. And it was just like, that's not rap. That's not rap. And I'm like, yo, come to this show. They came to the show, looked out into the audience, and was like, I had no idea. Some things you got to experience. You got to you got to just go and get in the crowd and get stepped on and get pushed around and be like, do I belong here? Or did I come here in the right mind state? Did I come here to have fun with this crowd or this thing? Or did I come to
judge
with blinders on? Come on, Mike, get the blinders on, man.
Like you think people that listen to hardcore and shit, like they're listening to, you think that they know what the fuck is going on? It's about, you're in a circle of people and you're fucking, it's a release, People go to those shows to jump around and take drugs and have a good time, I get it. I get it.
An album like that, it's a singles joint because he's got some joints that I rock to and I'll party to. Yeah. But I'm just talking as a complete package. I can't handle it as a.
I would say most of
beginning and end album.
The whole most of dancehall is the singles game, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think about it in terms of this is where hip hop came from, right? Toasting over break beats, right? Rhythms, or just essentially break beats where you have one track and a producer will get 30 people on it, and you could have 20 hits over the same track. So they're all singles games. Yeah. So it's weird when you hear like a reggae album from certain people because it's like, are they putting the time in, or are they just like giving you a collection of what they did in the last 3 months from various people and shit? So you know what I mean?
And it's mostly the latter, right? Like it's mostly just a collection of shit. I mean, that's the genre for one. You know what I mean? There's a handful of like really good dancehall albums, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that are albums. But I mean, that's also one of the reasons I fell in love with like Burna Boy.
Hey, grab yourself a drink because it's your time now.
You know what I mean? It's because like to hear an artist that makes very similar music but can do albums front to back type. You know what I mean? It's like at least to me, is appealing because you don't get it much in dancehall. You know.
Shabba Ranks made albums front to back.
Did he?
Yeah, no, for sure. Shabba.
Dude, Shabba had some good albums.
How many?
Man.
I don't know.
How many?
Like 2, 3.
Thank you. Prove my point.
How many albums did Shabba make?
See, that's all we need. That's all we need. The guru, the Google, because I don't think.
I don't know what happened to the guru today, man.
I don't think he had too many.
All right, we'll have to double check. We'll revisit that on the next show.
All right.
All right. So now we're done with that segment, man. It went longer than we needed to go on that any damn way.
It often does.
Bobby time now. Hey Jay, roll that first clip for me, please.
I'ma keep it 100, yeah, we're Queens, but not really. We got racial divides, man, I think that's just silly. Here's a change of the tides, yeah, they try to throw shade, but we take it in stride, and I say this with pride. Here's a change of the tides, yeah, they try to throw shade, but we take it in stride, and I say this with pride. Being where I'm from, let me take you on a ride. It's so fly. Being where I'm from, yeah, we got that hometown pride. It's so live. Being where I'm from, we don't got nothing to hide. It's alright, being where I'm from, it's a part of me still. Being where I'm from, you just gotta be real.
All right, Bobby, I could have let that whole joint rock, but I just wanted to play that one piece because I wanted y'all to see. Did y'all catch the clip in there that I wanted y'all to see?
Oh, the Philly Prestos, though.
Look at Bobby repping Philly all day. First time I see it, that was the first thing I see. I said, yo, this guy, he's got the Philly Pretzels at the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Can he get any more Philly than this?
For a second, I thought it was 2 Street. I was like, wait, what's going on?
No, it's funny. We shot a video. We shot a video with a rapper from Philly, Porn, who is Roots Crew official, and we shot it on 2 Street. New Year's Day, and it reminded me of that. It's like it gets wild. You know what I'm saying? At parades like that. So I applaud anybody that can shoot a video during a parade because it's not easy.
Yeah, it was dope, man. The crazy thing about that was shot literally 1 week before the shutdown.
Wow.
So I was at a parade before everything went into complete lockdown. And in my neighborhood, like I said, like it's at least where I grew up is, predominantly Irish section. We have our own St. Patrick's Day parade. Usually the mayor shows up and shit like that. And it was the perfect time, given the content of the song, to kind of just, really capture the vibe of, we have the beach here, there's people surfing here, but we also have this little enclave of like an Irish population. We have our own parade. And I just wanted to really catch everybody in their own natural element. There's no actors in that video. That's literally me walking, down the street, just capturing, all the stuff that was going on around. And it was just kind of a bittersweet moment because that was like the last big public gathering that I could even really remember. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a record that I'm proud of. That's a song that Statik Selektah produced off the Endless Summer album. And we sampled Farside Running on that hook. So, again, that's just a testament to like the era that I grew up on, the type of hip hop that I love. And that was actually, I think, the first video that we released off that project.
And we could have let that whole video run, but we didn't have time for everything. So I just wanted to make sure that Philly Pretzels thing got in. So y'all see that I don't just go out and find Queens rappers to be part of the show. Like I get Queens rappers who actually celebrate y'all Philadelphians as well, man. You know what I mean? so everybody plugged in. But you also had a line in that one little clip that says, and I hope nobody gets caught up on the part that when you say there's the racially divide, but I think it's kind of whack. It's racially divides in every neighborhood. But you mentioned the part about it's Queens, but not really. It's something along those lines, or and you kind of talked about that off at the top because I grew up in Corona, in Jamaica, and really I had some family in Far Rockaway. And like going to Far Rockaway on the train from Queens, like a 2-hour ride. So you really do feel like you leaving Queens.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the way I describe it, it's like, you know, it's hard for me to honestly articulate it to people that have never really been down here because it's such a unique section in New York as a whole, especially for Queens. You know, it's like we're Queens by a technicality. We're literally a peninsula that juts off into the water. You know, the closest parts of Queens to us is Broad Channel and Howard Beach. But really, you go far enough in one direction, you're going to hit Brooklyn. You go far enough in another direction, you hit Long Island. So we're just kind of our own little thing. And, you know, for the most part, me growing up, it was just seen as this summer community. You know, people just come down here, they go to the beach, and then they leave. And that's the only time you saw any type of civilization out here. It's like either you're a local or there's people coming to the beach in the summer and then they leave at the end of the day. And then you have 9 months of just kind of desolation. So that's why I always felt like we've been overlooked. You know what I'm saying? And you could talk to people that grew up in Queens, you know, anyone that grew up in Flushing, Hollis, Jamaica, whatever. People don't really come to Rockaway like that. And it's only been in the past, you know, 5 or 6 years post Sandy that we've had this like weird renaissance and revitalization in the community where it's almost like a Williamsburgification of like a small section. We have like a lot of gentrification, a lot of people coming from Bushwick and Williamsburg, people coming down to surf. And that's another thing. We have a huge surfing community here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's unlike any other section of New York, even the ones that have beaches like Coney Island and shit like that. But you have this little enclave where you have all these new businesses, you know, the concessions are finally open on the boardwalk. Like all the places that were just desolate and boarded up businesses for 25 years when I was growing up are just now it's like we have 6 million people coming to the beach every year. So all of a sudden Rockaway is this cool place to be at. Whereas growing up, it always was a place that people shit on. It was like, you know, you go down there, you go to Far Rockaway, you die. You know what I'm saying? Like it was seen as this dangerous place. You know, there's nothing down there. It's just Irish bars and abandoned property and you know, the most dangerous hoods in New York are in Far Rockaway. It's like now it's this whole other spin, and it's crazy to see because, you know, as an adult, I'm like, finally, you know, people are finally starting to see the positives about it and see that what the community represents and see all the cool things about being able to walk down the block and go surfing and then be able to get on a ferry and be in the city in an hour. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool on one hand. On another hand, obviously you have local resentment for, you know, people coming from outside of the neighborhood and opening up businesses and feeling like they're not getting the local respect that they deserve. And, you know, all the things that people criticize gentrification for, you know what I'm saying? Except it's not just, you know, affluent white people moving into a black neighborhood. It's like, it's always kind of been like, there's like there's kind of every facet of society. Like you have a pocket of wealth, you have like a white middle class section, you have kind of like a white poor section, like almost like a white trash section. Then you have the Hamels, which is the first start of the projects on Beach 88th Street. And you get down into Edgemere, you get down into other parts of Far Rockaway. And it's kind of like Last of the Mohicans, you know, like all the, you know, quote unquote dangerous sections of Brooklyn, you know, have all been gentrified. Like, you know, there's pretty much East New York and parts of Bed-Stuy, parts of Bushwick, but like Far Rock is still Far Rock. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been like almost 20 murders, like maybe 30 blocks from me where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So in a way the neighborhood hasn't changed much, but it's changed a lot.
So how's it been like since COVID? You said that, it started, the neighborhood was starting to like come up and do some good things. How's it been since COVID hit? Like, are people back to it? Are people out? Are people still like, you know what I mean? What's the climate?
I would say, it's probably a microcosm of the rest of the country. We're going through the same restrictions. On the 30th, they finally started letting people, 25% capacity in restaurants. But it's been a struggle, man. I mean, there's been summertime, especially, is like when shit is the most popping. So there's tons of bars. People come here to drink and have a good time. There was none of that. You really only had the beach. You know what I'm saying? So in a way, the beach this year was almost crazier than it's ever been. Like, I know I probably shouldn't even be saying that, it's the age of social distancing, but from where my mom's house is on Beach 134th Street, all the way down to Far Rockaway, the place was absolutely packed because there's nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? We probably have more people going to the beach this summer, not just from the neighborhood, but from outside than we've had in the past 5 or 6 years. So, in a way, it's very depressing. There's a lot of businesses that will never reopen. We obviously have the same lockdown measures as everybody else, but at the same time, like, we're resilient. We made the best of it. And I don't think we're really in that much of a different place than any other place. And that's why I talk about Rockaway so much, because I feel like Rockaway Beach could be any place USA. Whatever state you go to, there's probably parts of Philly, Pennsylvania that are just like where I grew up. You go to the Midwest, there's places that are just like where I grew up. So I feel like even though I'm talking about my neighborhood, the experience is universal. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that I go through on a day-to-day basis and experiences, people could relate to that. And that's why I always talk about it.
So how you been? I know you talked about it a little earlier, but how have you been dealing with COVID, man? I mean, I think, and I don't know your full history as far as, entertaining and music and finally starting to bubble, but I know when I got introduced to you, it was maybe like last fall, last summer. It was before the not this album, but I guess that was your first album, right? That Where I'm From is off of. So it was like right before that album, I guess, I got introduced to you. Right? And I don't know how much you had been bubbling prior to that, but I feel like soon as COVID, right around the time COVID hit, you had your second album about to come. You was like, it was things were really about to pop for you.
It fucked everybody up, really. It doesn't matter if you're an independent artist or a big artist, there's no shows going on. So, everybody's impacted. For me, I started to hit a stride where I was getting a lot of shows, which was like kind of the missing part of the puzzle that I was looking for. Like I went out to Vegas. I opened for Little Brother. I had a show coming up where I was going to open for a group called Czarface, which is Esoteric and Inspect the Deck. That got canceled. I was going to go down and do a bunch of shows at South by Southwest, which literally was in the right at the beginning of the lockdown. Yeah. So I had all this stuff lined up that just got completely axed. And then on top of that, I was holding on to the project with Statik Selektah because I wanted to release it closer to the summertime in May, and everything got shut down. And, I was planning on doing, a whole promotional run, doing radio, obviously doing shows. So it was like, damn, well, I got this project about to come out and I'm not just going to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still plan to put it out, but it definitely took a lot of the wind out of my sail because there's only so much promotion you could do from your phone in your bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the very least, I wanted to go up and do Static Show, be on the radio, be on Shade 45. And, it just is what it is, man. Like, I had to deal with it. But I'm not complaining, man. I feel like it's, one door closes, another one opens. I see like how Kwame's adapted. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does the Saturday morning tunes every Saturday. And this is giving artists another sense of direction. It's like you could do a show in your living room from live stream now. You know what I mean? The versus battles, like, it just kind of, right? I respect anybody that takes the cards they're dealt and adapts to it. You know what I'm saying? And Look, I mean, I put out 2 projects during this time, and I'm working on another one. So it hasn't really stopped my output. It's actually kind of increased my output. The only thing that has really hurt is just me being able to get out there in front of people, be able to do in-person shit. You know, obviously being in New York, there's a lot of resources at my disposal. So, you know, it just sucks when, you know, I had been holding on to this project for like 9 months, and it was, you know, my biggest collaboration to date. And, you know, there was only so much I could really do, you know, just in terms of like self-promotion. But look, man, I'm not complaining. You know, everyone's in the same boat. You know what I mean? You just got to kind of adapt to the situation and move forward. You know what I mean?
I had a question about being creative in COVID, since we're on that. You know what I mean? You just said you put out 2 albums and you work on another one. Like, one, you said you put the other one to the side. Are you the type that, like, all right, I can't even put that out at all because it misses time, and you do another one? Or do you hold it? Like, how does that work? What do you think, your thoughts on that? And are you creative? Are you able to like write? And like, what are you writing about? What's the music about like nowadays?
I mean, I would say, you know, in the beginning, I feel like we're all in a different place than we were 7 months ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm definitely not fearful. You know, like I was in the beginning, I was just, you know, like it was definitely taking a toll on like my mental health. Like, you know, there was so much uncertainty in the air. And initially I was like, well, this is great. I'm going to have all this free time and I'm going to be creative. And that wasn't happening initially. But once like the hysteria kind of died down and I was able to kind of settle back in and it kind of just became part of daily life, you know, I was able to get back into the groove and create as I normally do. You know, and obviously the times and your experiences weave their way into your music, whether you like it or not. It's just a natural part of writing and being creative. So what's going on around me is always going to be a part of like what I write about. But, you know, as far as like holding on to projects and how I release them, you know, it's been a learning process. Like, I think with the first project I put out, Summer Classics, I was so excited to just get it out there. I wasn't thinking about the marketing and promotion element of it. And now I'm more cognizant of timing is important, you know, getting all your assets in line before you put something out, you know, making sure you have videos done, making sure you have press pictures done, you know, making sure you have blurbs and write-ups and press releases done. You know, that wasn't something that was even in the back of my mind when I put out my first album. Now I kind of understand the full circumference of how promoting a project goes. So now I get that element where it's like, look, getting the music done is one thing. Make sure it's mixed properly. Make sure it's mastered properly. Make sure you have all your artwork. Make sure you have, you know, at least a video done, you know, upon release. You know, make sure you have, you know, the outlets that work with you, you know, inform that you're putting a new project out. Let them know, you know, give them 2 to 3 months lead time, you know, with, you know who you want to reach out to with the new music so that by the time it comes out, they have digested it and, you know, can give you a fair write-up. You know what I'm saying? So all that stuff was something I kind of had to pick up as I go along. So now, like, my approach to just making an album is different because you have to factor in time of the year. You know, you have to get people on board. You have to pitch it. You know, I have a manager, but I have to kind of be my own publicist, at times my own manager, at times my own booking agent, you know, get my own videos done. You know, if I don't have somebody to shoot it, I'll shoot it myself. I edit a lot of videos myself. So it's just a lot of work. There's a lot of legwork involved when you don't necessarily have a label to really come in and help. And you know, even speaking to that case, you know, this project with Daru Jones has a label behind it, which is Fat Beats. You know, for the most part, on an indie level, those labels are only going to give you a little monetary push. You still got to do the same amount of legwork. You still have to put in the same exact amount of work if you want it to perform. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of artists think because a label shows interest or a label comes in and wants to help that they don't have to do the work anymore. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So, you know, a lot of this is a learning process, you know, and I'm still learning. I'm still kind of, you know, picking up jewels as I go along, you know.
That's for sure. Hey, Jay, can you run that next video? Because I know we're getting tight on time. These are just, I'm just running through some things that got me to know who you are and work that you did that made me be like, yo, I think I like this Bobby J kid. Right?
Music from the Jeeps to the Tudos. You don't want no smoke, you pseudo rappers is cool. The return of the boom bat black hoodie shit. Back with the back and forth, back on the bully shit.
Yo, Kwame, come to think of it, my pen game is insane.
Bob, I hover over rappers, never in lanes. I've been slain.
Insane, Mac in 10 dames, this pimp game been
Over for the wins, all in vain. Dispense pain, you've been
I
made.
was sick with the simile since you were sipping Similac.
I flip a track, spit a rap, consider crack. Yeah, shit is
You'll
whack.
get fried to a fricassee if we were spitting tip
Don't play no games, this ain't pity pat. I pity that you're pussy like a kitty cat.
Give me that, the mic is mine. It's like the clash of the titans, lightning striking while I write this rhyme. We got the city back, it's right on time. I'll make you dash like a hyphen if you biking at a spike and
Yeah,
dime.
this kid thought his life was fine till they dropped the dime. Check this timeline, saw his wife was mine, piped it from behind. I'm never inclined to dine on that swine. Time to wheel up till like the come rewind.
It's the return of the
Diabolical duo.
kudos to my.
Hey, that was perfect timing, Yaya. I kind of threw that one in there for you. The Kwame video was kind of for you too, Yaya. Perfect timing.
What's up, Yaya?
Yaya is one of the biggest Kwame fans.
Yeah.
She was hoping he was going to be on with you, so she wanted to do a sing along. I'm like, everybody's trying to do a sing along, man. Like, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so that when I seen that pop up on your social media, and I realized it was one of the tracks on one of your albums, I was just like, yo, man, this cat is doing back and forth. Like, this is so throwback hip hop, man, and with like a classic artist. And then when I went through some more of your work, and I seen you work with Killer Priest, and then you put the joint out with Fame. It was like, yo, man, at what point in your career did you like come to the realization was like, yo, man, I can flow with some of these classic veteran artists, man?
I don't know, man. I'm really, honestly, I'm humble. Like I try to let other people, speak on it, as far as like my shit is concerned. But, I've been rapping since I'm 10 years old. You know what I mean? Like this is a well-oiled machine. It took me,
okay.
It took me a long time to get to a comfort level where, I felt like I was ready to get on songs with some of these guys. But, speaking to that song with Kwame, like I've been working with Kwame since I'm 14 years old. So, when I put out that first album, listen, like Kwame sends me shit with him rapping all the time, but he for whatever reason, he won't put out an album. And I've been trying to get him to put out a new album like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? It's just for whatever reason, I guess he enjoys being a producer more, but when you look at the artists that are in his age bracket, number one, there's not a lot of people putting out new music. Number two, a lot of times when they do, it's kind of underwhelming. It's not what you're used to hearing from them. I'm not going to name any names. Obviously there's certain artists from that era that can still rap with the best of them. But to me, Kwame has actually progressed as a rapper. He doesn't sound like 1989 Kwame. He doesn't dress like 1989 Kwame. He didn't gain 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, he could almost be a new artist again if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like he could come out.
How about this?
A whole new legion of fans.
When Kwame came out, he was ahead of his generation. He was at that forefront of his peers at the time. He was unique in how he dressed, and that's easy to say, right? He wore polka dots. It was different, great. But his bars, like listen to that album, The Rhythm. Like his bars were ahead.
Yeah, listen to Push the Panic Button. He's rapping like Cool G Rap on that shit.
For sure.
Like I don't think people understood how good of a lyricist he was, because obviously people know only you. The Rhythm's a lyrical record, but it's kind of like some Tribe Called Quest before Tribe Called Quest type shit. But
it was native tonguish. For sure.
My thing with Kwame was, I was getting ready to put this album out. I flew out to LA and we were literally in the studio together making this, which you don't really get anymore. And I was like, yo, I just want to make some back and forth 4 bar. I go 4 bars, you go 4 bars. You know what I'm saying? And that was the energy. He threw the beat on. I came up with the first 4 bars and he came right in. and did his. Then it was like hot potato. Then I came in, did mine. You know what I mean? Then I came up with the hook. You know, I knew where I wanted him to come in on the hook. And then we did the second verse just like that. And it was like really some like serious creative energy because
that's dope.
We probably made that song in like an hour. And I just wanted to show people like, yo, Kwame can still rap with the best of them. You know, and I know I see it every time he puts some shit out where he's rapping. His audience still wants to hear new stuff.
Yeah, man. He needs to hear this. He needs to hear motherfuckers talking about him like, yo, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? We know.
To this day, that's the most shared video I've ever put out.
That one there? Most shared?
You know, from just regular people to, you know, guys like Mr. C and EA Ski and like people that I never thought would, like sitting back and looking back at who that song resonated with. It's crazy because we never expected anyone to care about it on that level. And the video, like, I shot the video on my iPhone, and he shot the video on his iPhone, and I just spliced it together. Like, it's crazy how the most lo-fi, low-budget shit ends up being something that performs better than, you know, I shoot regular budgeted videos all the time. Like, some shit that cost me zero money to make to this day is I just think that that's a testament to how much people really love and respect Kwame. Like,
on viral.
Dude, don't undersell yourself though, man, because you was running on that track, man. And I think that's what got, like, I knew Kwame, right? So lyrically, I wasn't really surprised to hear him. I was surprised to hear him on a track, but like, I still rock the Boy Genius album because I think cover to cover, it's an unbelievable album, right? But to hear you go back and forth with him on that, it's like, it's not something you hear a lot of young rappers do right now. Like, I don't know if I've heard that done in the last 15 years, 20 years. I can't tell you the last time I've heard that 4 bars for 4 bars back and forth like that.
What's happened, Mike? I mean, Mike,
who's doing it? Who's doing it?
Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels is like 50 years old.
No, they're not.
How old is
John? Album like
they just put an album out.
Mike?
Huh?
Run the Jewels is from that era though, you know.
That's what I'm saying. They're from that era.
What was his group? Cannibal Ox. What group was LP in?
Wasn't he Company Flow?
Company Flow.
This is what I'm saying. They from that era. I'm talking about cats from this era. Who doing it?
It'd be cool to hear like younger kids going back and forth, you know, because it's always verses. But imagine like Travis and Thug like trading fours, you know.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
I just always felt that dynamic, you know, that Tech and Steel, OGC, Red and Meth, you know, Run DMC, just like people finishing each other's lines and you know, weaving in and out of it. Like, that's my favorite type of record. Or, you know, Broken English. Fucking Smooth the Hustler.
Trigger the Gambler. One of the best records ever made.
Like the quintessential.
Mike, come on, Mike.
Don't fuck with me with that. One of the best records ever made.
Like, incredible. Like to me, the quintessential Brooklyn like 90s hip hop song. You know what I mean? Like, you know, fucking MOP. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Like a record like G Building. Like, that type of shit is my favorite, and it's like you don't really get to hear that as much anymore. And that was the inspiration behind it, and it was dope that not only was it an old school feeling on the song, we got to do it in the traditional way of we're in the studio together, and it was really like a competition, man. Like, I wasn't taking it light. Like, I was like, yo, this is my 4 bars, follow that up. And then he's like, all right. Now you follow that shit up. And it was a good, creative, and competitive energy. You know what I mean? And that's what I really liked about it, man. So,
hey, Bobby, I got this thing that we do, and it's kind of like fuck, marry, kill. And I've been thinking about it for a minute because you guys been talking about Queens the whole show. Mike always talks about Queens, and Queens, I would say, is Queens is the home of like some of the more outstanding duos in rap ever, right? You know what I'm saying? So in that mode, like a fuck, marry, kill, like here's the scenario, right? You get to rock on stage with a Queens duo, right? Now, one duo you want to rock on stage with, right? The other duo, they're gonna be waiting backstage. They're in the dressing room chilling, you know, drinking, smoking, hearing your honor, and then the other duo, they in a limo going home because they gotta go home. Now, this is all love, so these are all legends. So it's not like anybody's bad, but it's more about your preference, just to see like who you fuck with, right? So you got some legendary duos. You got Fife and Tip, right?
Mobb Deep.
You got Mobb Deep. You got Run DMC, and you got like Capone and Noriega, right? So I want to say because it's so hard to Run DMC because you know what I mean. They're above everybody, right? So we're gonna say,
all right, take them
who's on stage, who's in the dressing room, and who goes home. Capone and Noriega, Mobb Deep, Fife and Tip.
Okay, so that's my three choices?
The three choices.
So Capone and Noriega, Mobb Deep, Fife and Tip. Who would I perform with?
Who's performing on this night? It's a big night. Who's performing with you?
Fife and Tip.
Who's backstage waiting with the champagne chilling?
Mobb Deep.
And who's going home in a limo?
Capone and Noriega, but that's not because I don't fuck with Capone and Noriega. It's you know, it's I gotta
look Fife and Tip, man.
I mean, Fife
all good.
It's one of the greatest live experiences ever.
No doubt.
You know, it's and A Tribe Called Quest is like I think they're probably one of the most universally respected rap groups of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like and so many offshoots of that. Mm-hmm. Because really, when you think about Q-Tip, like Q-Tip was instrumental in the Infamous. You know what I'm saying? Like we worked on that album. Dilla, you know, was kind of a Tip underling. So
that was, yeah, for sure.
So much came from that try, and then obviously, you know, you have Consequence. You know, you have that whole kind of native tongues ecosystem too. So it's you know, that's, you know, Tribe to me is like perennial, man. Like
I look at Tribe Called Quest as they're like kind of like they transitioned us out of like the 80s into the future sonically. Like the low end theory was just that. It was the blueprint on how the music should sound. And how, you know what I mean? Like you know, that, you know, they came with that like, you know, like you said on those Mobb Deep tracks, you hear that like that snare out front, that kick in that snare out front, and you know what I mean? Like that was all Q-Tip for sure. But like just the sonics, like Tribe and Bob Power and the engineers and
Bob Power, man, one of like the greatest engineers in hip hop.
Huh?
One of the greatest engineers in hip hop.
Sure. One of my favorite times, and it was brief, was the Roots were mastering their "Do You Want More" and mixing and whatever, and they did it with Bob Power, and we were in the studio, and I'm like, yo, this is fucking like Bob Power, you there? What? He's right there. You know what I mean? So like legendary, man. So
all right, look, we run out of time, Dane.
We got time.
I ain't got no time, Dane. Running this shit like Yaya, man. 1 hour, we shut it down, man. Listen, man. Listen, I had another video, but we're going to skip that because we kind of touched on it anyway. It was the joint that, it was, I think it might have been one of your breakfast bars, and you was going over the KRS-One track. And I mean, all of those, dude, every single one that you did, I'm like, yo, the first time I seen it, I was like, yo, who is this guy? Fucking run it, Jay.
I acknowledge Rap is pussy, they hymen. The gynecologists of rhyming get up in they vagina from the behind. Then I'ma put 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink. About to make this beat my bitch like I'm running the clink. If your lady's thirsty, I'll give her something to drink. And for you dumb motherfuckers, here's something to think about. Now where was I? I'm aware that I get rare, should I? Less I'm on the lair, red eye. Cause I must apply the force, yeah, Jedi. But I can beat them with my hands solo. Back the fuck up, you're breathing on my damn polo. And staring like I'm doing dance solos to the band Toto on the cam slow-mo. Man, take a damn photo on your man's GoPro. Damn bozos, I don't divvy up the grands while you breaking up your bands, yeah, Yoko. Oh no, the kid done got his mojo. Backing out, they're begging for some change just like a hobo. The game is in the chokehold. While they was getting FOMO, I was waiting patient, finishing my training in the dojo. The saddest thing is wasted talent, yeah, you know it's Sonny told Colodro. Divine with the rhymes, it's 9-8. The grind don't slow, I've been in the mix like Lime Soko. I'm 6 Flags, prime time, yeah, the line's loco. Yo, I won't bend to break my spine, don't fold for no hoe. Never broke the bro code, go ahead with your low blows. Might pull out this fofo, let the let out no Zoso when the popo be a no-show.
Boot it.
I'm 6 Flags in prime time, the lines are loco. Yo, listen, man, first time I seen them joints, right, I was like, yo, who is this guy, like, tagging all these classic artists and hopping on their tracks? Like he's that dude. Yo, man, you that dude, man. You know what I'm saying? You've earned all of that, man. So I celebrate you, man. Let's talk about your new work real quick, man, and then we're going to wrap this up, man. So you got the joint with Daru Jones. Tell us a little bit about that, man, and then we're going to close out the show, man.
Yeah, the album with Daru Jones called One Mic and Drum. You know, Daru is a very accomplished drummer. You know, he's probably most known for the work he's done with Jack White. He drummed on all 3 of Jack White's solo albums, but like his work runs the gamut from Pharoah Monch to Gloria Gaynor. You know what I'm saying? He's got 2 Grammys. He's fucking all over the place. He's doing it. And we did a show last year at the spot, the Blue Note. We really vibed together. He wanted to get together and do some work. And this album is actually what we did over the course of 1 studio session. So he booked the studio time. Literally, he went in the sound room, would come up with the drum break, and he'd be like, all right, what do you have for that? I would go, I record a rhyme, then he'd go in, do another one. He'd be like, what do you have for that? And that's kind of how the album came together. And we wanted to make it like a literal jam session caught on, you know, just on tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of rap music and contemporary music is very overproduced, you know, no imperfections whatsoever. I wanted it to sound like I was actually rapping it in the room while you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Like minimal punch-ins, even down to the way it's engineered, even the way the vocals sound. Like I wanted it to sound raw because there's just a rawness that is kind of missing from rap music, in my opinion. And on top of that, aside from it just being, you know, drums and vocals, like we really made it for the DJs and we really made it for the producers that are looking for new breaks and new shit to sample. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that whole art is discouraged at this point. You know, you see less and less producers that are sampling and taking from other people's work. And we want to make a project like, yo, do whatever you want with it. You know what I'm saying? Like we even have interludes where he's just playing the drums. So, you know, Fat Beats is pressing that up. You know, we're putting out an instrumentals version. So like we literally want people to do whatever they want with it. If you're a rapper, take some of the beats, do your own thing over it. If you're a producer, you know, you'll take the drum elements and do what you want over it. And that's kind of like our gift to hip hop. Like, you know, we don't want to see the art of sampling and building on other people's work die. So that's really, you know, the focal point behind this project and what we wanted to do. So, you know, aside from that, just being like taking it back to basics, you know, like records like MC Shan, The Bridge, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's just an MC and drums. Like I always felt like the most hip hop thing you could do is just have a drum beat and lyrics. So, you know, it's just an alternative to what's going on in the mainstream. You know what I'm saying?
Lottie Dottie, the show.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying Lottie Dottie, the show, just the beatbox, vocalist.
I really like the project as like a roots head, you know, like, and as an audio engineer, I always appreciated the different drum tones that they would get. And this project was like that. Like every break had a different feel to it, and it was real well mixed and like really crunchy. And, you know, it took up it's just drums, but it still took up all that space, you know.
Yeah.
You were
I gotta get credit.
Real raw in the middle of it. It was great.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I got to give credit to the engineer Kyle who mixed it down, because he's kind of like the silent third member of the group, really, because he was able to translate that feeling really well. You know what I'm saying? Like, even to the way he mixed, you know, I don't want to get too nerdy into it because a lot of people don't really understand audio engineering and shit, but just the way he mixed my vocals, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very flat. You know, the mic is very honest. It's not, I mean, shit, man, like, you know, engineers these days, they can make somebody sound, you know, someone who's off beat sound like they're on beat, somebody who can't sing sound like they could sing. You know, I just think about albums like, you know, I was listening to Liquid Swords the other day, and it's like you listen to some of the shit on there, and it's like, if you're in the car and you're sometimes the bass overpowers the vocals, it sounds muddy. But that's kind of like what gives a character. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's perfection and the imperfection, and that's we were trying to do that without trying to be overbearing with it and you know, being tryhards. But that's kind of where we were going. It's like you listen to these raw rap records from the '80s; they sound like they were recorded in somebody's fucking, you know, living room or bathroom or whatever, and that's what gives those songs character. That's what makes them classic, in my opinion. You know? Yeah.
Well, for just drums, it was a lot of ear candy. It was fun sounding. You know.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you.
No doubt, man. And what's the name of the first single off that again, man? Off that. What y'all drop? What's the video y'all dropped for that?
So we dropped. We have two about to come out. The first one we did, and actually the first song we did on the project was a reimagining, I want to say, of Gangstar's "Take It Personal," because we kind of got in the studio and we were like, let's try and be in the zone of break beats that we grew up listening to that we really like, and he just started playing the "Take It Personal" drum pattern. And I was like, you know what, just lay that. And it just so happened that he had a friend named Gabriella Riley that came by the studio, who's a vocalist, that just needed to drop something off. There was no plans for her to be on the project. She had to drop something off. And we were like, yo, like, why don't we get her to do the sample? You know what I'm saying? Like, have her try and mimic the sample. So she got in the booth, did the sample over his drum beat, and I just spit a rhyme, and that was kind of like the inception of the actual album. That was like the starting point. And it's crazy because we filmed that studio session, and then when we put the album out, Primo played it on a show. So it was like all came full circle, you know, like to have Primo stamp it and say that he likes it. Like, that's why I got into this, man. Like, this isn't about money. I want to work with the people that I respect and have the people that I grew up listening to. You know, the fact that Primo even knows who I am, is like, I can literally bow out and, you know, not make music anymore, because that means everything.
Don't do it, bro. Don't do it. Keep going.
Well, look, man, we're going to wrap up the show. Bobby, listen, man, thoroughly appreciate you coming and hanging out with us today, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, hopefully, man, you said some stuff, man, now to get some of these other rappers out here on their toes, man. You know what I mean? And I know, you know what I mean, I'm a grumpy old man when it comes to this hip-hop shit, man, so it's hard to impress me, man, and you did that, man. So, you know, thumbs up to you, man, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the work you're doing, man. So, Dane, E, J, y'all got some parting words, man?
No, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, man, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks,
man, my pleasure. Thank you. Anytime. You know, let me know.
How we do it, brother. Appreciate your time, Bobby.
Peace, guys.
All right.